Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. The school board meeting of February 8th, 2022 is now called to order. The time is 6:01. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential and the district vision to be a world-class school system. This evening's agenda includes invocation, presentation of colors and pledge of allegiance, acknowledgements, public comments, 2 items under consent action items, which include 2 items under board office, which one is good cause, and I find there is good cause to move this forward. 10 items under academic services, which one is good cause. Dr. Savage, please provide an explanation for this one item.
Yes, Madam Chair. This item was added to have the agreement approved so that the teacher impacted could receive the required training next week for the program.
Thank you. As presiding officer, I find there is good cause to add this to the agenda. 3 items under business services, 1 item under human services, 12 items under operations, which one is good cause. Dr. Savage, please provide an explanation for this one item.
Yes, Madam Chair. This item is needed to amend and reflect the actual fees and deposit amounts received for the final closing on February 10th, 2022. It will increase the total purchase cost, including all the fees and deposits, by $24,999.
Thank you. As presiding officer, I find there is good cause to add this item to the agenda. 2 items under public hearings, which 2 are good cause. Dr. Savage, please provide an explanation for these 2 items.
Yes, Madam Chair. These 2 items had the first reading and pre-briefing and were advertised to go to public hearing today.
Thank you. As presiding officer, I find there is good cause to add these items to the agenda. And 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move we accept the agenda as stated.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Please record your vote.
Mine is not, oh, there it is.
Sorry, mine's coming up. Mine's coming up.
Jordan, is this Copen or Coppen? Do we know? That's all right.
Thank you. 6-0, motion carries. Ms. Patrica will lead us in invocation, after which Ms. Gittens will lead us in the presentation of colors and pledge of allegiance. Ms. Patrica, introduce your guests.
Please stand. Ken Burns, Mr. Ken Burns, a native of Louisiana, moved to Fort Myers in 1991 to accept a teaching position with the Lee County School District. While employed with the district, he served as a teacher, basketball coach, assistant principal, and retired in July 2019 as the principal of the Dunbar Community School. One of the most notable accomplishments of Mr. Burns was to, quote, write the vision for the SOS Enrichment Program. He's married to his wife of 49 years, and he has 2 daughters, 3 grandchildren, and another on the way. He's a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and he currently serves as the assistant pastor of the Friendship Baptist Church in Fort Myers. Pastor Burns, would you mind providing the invocation for tonight's meeting? And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate this opportunity. Let us pray. Gracious Lord, our Father, we come now with humble hearts, bowed heads, first to say thank you, Lord, for all that you've done for us. We ask you now, God, that you allow your Spirit to be with us to guide this board, impart wisdom upon them, give them discerning spirits, give them love and togetherness that they may serve this community. We ask that you guide us in all that takes place and that things are done decent and in order. And we be careful to give you all the praise and glory for it. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Giddens?
Introducing the cadet who is presenting the national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Major Thomas, and I hope I say it Copen or Coppen? Coppen. Coppen, okay. I had two choices. Senior Army instructor from Ida S. Baker. Major Coppen served over 24 years in both the Marine Corps and the Army. He retired out of the United States Military Academy, West Point. This is Major Coppen's 7th year as the JROTC instructor in the district. Major Coppen moves to, I'm sorry, don't read that part. Okay, now you know what you have to do. Okay. Thank you. Presenting, I'm sorry, is this your part I'm reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm done.
Stop her now.
Hello, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Presenting the national colors tonight is Cadet Giovanna Gonzalez, the Cadet Command Sergeant Major of the Ida S. Baker High School JROTC. Cadet Gonzalez is the school's top enlisted cadet out of over 850 cadets in the program. She is actively involved in numerous JROTC teams and is the commander of the drill team, having competed at both the district and the state level. Cadet Gonzalez plans to continue with college upon graduating this May. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please be seated. This evening's student's representative is Presley McGirt, a senior at Cypress Lake High School. Presley is actively involved in her school, serving as vice president of the National Honor Society, captain of the cheerleading squad, and she played in her first lacrosse game last night. Did you win? Yes. There you go. Presley volunteers in the community for the National Junior League of Coalitions. One of her passions is ballroom dancing, and she is a 3-time Fred Astaire National Junior Champion. Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you. Presley has taken AP courses for all 4 years at her school and maintains a weighted 4.46 GPA. Congratulations on that. After high school, Presley will be attending the University of South Florida with plans to become a physician's assistant. Welcome, Presley.
Thank you.
Now it's Presley's turn. It's your turn.
And I hope she reads better than me.
At this time, our student representative, Presley, will present the character award and design for February.
Okay. The character education word for February is honesty. Quote, honesty is the fastest way to prevent a mistake from turning into a failure. James Altucher. The design you see displayed on the screen was created by Stephanie Negron, a 10th grade student at Mariner High School.
Great, thank you. And if you will, the recognitions. Acknowledgements.
Yeah. Acknowledgements for the month of February 2022. The School Board of Lee County acknowledges the following for the month of February 2022. National School Counseling Week, February 7th through 11th, 2022. National Career and Technical Education Month and National Black History Month.
Thank you. Okay, and later you will have an opportunity to comment. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Mr. Bruno, will you please address the public?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. If you completed a public comment card, please put it in the basket provided at the back of the room. If you need a public comment card, they are provided by our staff located in the hallway outside of the boardroom. The rules concerning public comment are posted and will be made from the microphone in the back. Please be advised that the board will not respond during public comment to remarks made by speakers. Speakers and those attending the meeting are expected to act in a respectful manner. The purpose of public comment is to provide feedback on school district issues. Abusive language is prohibited. In addition, clapping, hissing, and booing, unreasonably loud and/or offensive language, swearing, cursing, or a display of temper during the public comment time is prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow proper decorum in the chambers will be ruled out of order. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the microphone per Board Policy 1.11 and may be removed from the chambers. There will be one warning, and we ask that you govern yourself accordingly. We will take recesses as necessary if there's not decorum in the chambers. Please remember that it is unlawful and a second-degree misdemeanor to knowingly disrupt or interfere with a school board meeting. Per Board Policy 1.11, the time per speaker is 3 minutes if there are 20 speakers, 2 minutes if there are 30 speakers, and 1 minute if there are 31 speakers or more. The maximum time allotted for public comment is 1 hour, 60 speakers. You will find a countdown on the big screens in the front of the room. Once your time has elapsed, the microphone will automatically shut off. Please state your name when you approach the microphone. I will call your names 5 speakers at a time. Please follow staff's direction when lining up. Madam Speaker, we have 17 individuals who wish to address the board this evening. That is 3 minutes per speaker.
Thank you. Please make sure you have completed a public comment card if you intend to provide public comment. The card is a public record identifying those who speak and providing contact information to the staff for follow-up. The cards are located with staff in the hallway. In addition, if there is not decorum during this meeting, I will call for a 5-minute recess. We will continue the recess this meeting as needed, increasing 5 minutes each time. Members of the dais, when a recess is called, I ask that you leave the chamber. Of course, it goes without saying that during the recess, board members will not discuss any matters that is pending on the agenda or will come before this body to avoid any sunshine violation. We would also appreciate it if you would state your name prior to making your comments. Is there anyone in the audience who has not filled out a card that wishes to speak? Okay. Mr. Dupree Bruno, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Will the following individuals please line up? Karsten Branch, Yapram Dervahanyan, Karen G., Sharon McGill, Juliet Dell.
Mr. Branch, come on up to the mic. Good evening. You can go ahead and start.
Hello, y'all. I really want to thank y'all all. I came up here a few months ago talking about Cypress Lake bathrooms, and I really want to thank y'all for approving the money. To be frankly honest with you, it means a lot to me and my family and the students that go to Cypress Lake High School. I've talked to the building supervisor, and he said that they're only doing the inside bathrooms. And to be frankly honest with you, the outside bathrooms that are next to the baseball field and next to the tennis courts and then next to the football field, they're very terrible too. And I have videos of it, and I would love for y'all to take a look at those also. And I would love to know when the start date is this summer, so I could be there to thank the gentlemen and the women who are going to be building it and re-renovating it, so I can hand some donuts out to them and thank them. And I also, since I have this time left, I really want to thank the bus drivers and the teachers, administrators, everybody, I mean, that works for the Lee County School District and for this community, even the sheriff officers and the nurses. I really want to thank y'all. Y'all mean a lot to us, and y'all do a lot, you know, for our students and for everybody in the community. And most of all, I mean, y'all get a lot of negativity up there, but I really want to thank y'all. Y'all have a very difficult job, day in and day out, you know, to connect with the community and, you know, make sure you're doing well. You know, I really want to thank y'all, and I hope y'all have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yep, I'm Deerville Hunyon, Lehigh Acres, Florida. I love my country, but I fear my government. I'm speaking about our school board. We're having elections coming up. This school board hasn't been very good. Time to clean house. Basically, you've lost money for us taxpayers on this Oak Farm deal because it says Black Lives Matter is a hoax. And you find this guy and he finds you and everything, and you spend money. You've lost the lawsuit to him. You know, we got free speech in this country. If you can't say certain things, it's amazing, just amazing. You know, I believe Black Lives Matters, Antifa, NAACP are terrorist groups. They're against our country. They do everything to terrorize our country. Next thing I got on the agenda here is, you know, kids come to school to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic. They don't come to school to learn genders, what's male, what's female. We know what's female, what's male. This is crazy. And you people up there don't have the guts to know what's a male and what's a female? You got these gay people coming in here with their agendas. Where's the rest of the people with their agenda? You don't give a damn about them. Let's get down to the real facts. We know what's right, what's a male, what's a female. Last thing I got is we had a nice Christian saying at the beginning of the scene of this meeting. Protect our school members, our politicians, our people. And then I come to meetings where we have some of the school board that say, let's stand for silence. Are you crazy? You know, the federal government, the Congress, our state government, they all stand up and say a prayer. Now, they don't stand up and say, stand for silence. I don't stand for silence. I stand for my Lord, my God, for this country that I serve. So let's get it straight. You people are really off the wall. Shape up. We need new people on this board. Thank you. God bless.
Hi, my name is Sharon McGill, and I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to make comments here tonight. And from the last meeting, I'd like to thank Ms. Bruno for her clarification of some questions that had come up regarding the Sunshine Law. And then also thanks from the last meeting to Ms. Vaughn for reinforcing and restating the district policy number 2.18 regarding curriculum materials. Any individual in the district who chooses to challenge materials in the schools has that opportunity. That being said, there's concern that certain individuals and/or organized groups are attempting to circumvent the policy number 2.18, with public displays challenging district personnel and applying public pressure. If the district allows the policy to be circumvented, precedent will be set and the integrity of all district policies could be jeopardized. All parents and guardians have the right to challenge materials by going through proper channels. There's no question about that. However, public displays of bullying do not set a good example. Our teachers are being challenged in so many ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. It is no wonder then that when individuals or groups start attacking their integrity and professionalism, they finally say enough is enough. Our teachers are highly educated professionals. They're compassionate individuals who chose this profession because they were passionate about education and children. Educators take seriously their responsibility to provide a wide range of information in our schools to meet the needs of all students, not just a few. They are facilitators and motivators of learning. Children today are intelligent, capable, and independent. With so much information being thrown at them through a variety of platforms, it should be our focus to help them navigate that and make sense of that information. Education should empower kids. If you as a parent or guardian do not want your child to experience a piece of literature, i.e. information, that's your prerogative. However, making that choice for everyone else is not your right.
Good evening.
Hello. Thank you again for everything that you guys do. And I agree with the speaker who said that the board has been under a lot of stress. And I have heard from reputable sources that you've received threats off and on for a very long time. So I hope that's improved. And we want you to be in a place where you can do your best job, not in just survival mode. So I want to request that if swearing isn't allowed at public comment, that we enforce that, please. I think it's important to follow through on those. We've got to set these standards in this public forum for our public school. I want to address the statement. I also want to thank you. I know you guys make comments at the end of public comment, and you respond at the end of public comment, not during public comment. So I would urge people to watch the video till the end of public comment when you make some responses, which I think are really important and valuable. I want to make a comment about Black Lives Matter. I just heard again someone mention it as a terrorist organization. This should not be allowed in this room. It is not up to citizens to designate terrorist organizations. That is up to the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. When we speak that untruth in this room, with 95,000 students in our Lee County school system, 13,300 of them are Black or African American. We allow that to be spoken to them. We have to take a stand that that's not okay. I don't know how you do it, but it's not the truth, and the truth matters. I might want to make a quick reference to, there's a lot of news right now because we're in legislative session in Tallahassee, and there's some discussion about laws that might be passed. But while that happens, we do have Florida Statute 1006.147, which is the Jeffrey Johnston Stand Up for All Students Act. It's the anti-bullying act that came from Lee County, Florida, when unfortunately, we lost a 15-year-old Cape Coral High honors student who was gay because of bullying. He took his own life. So we have a whole list of anti-bullying statements in that law. I want to also suggest a possible solution for the controversy over books. Again, you don't need me to state the problem more clearly, but the parents are asking for opt-in, and they're asking for parental rights, which they've always had. I think all parents have parental rights. But what if we had an opt-in system by which their children could not check out a school library book without parental approval or consent? And they could do that either in real time or issue a list ahead of time for the student. It would be an opt-in, and they'd have.
Will the following individuals please line up? Jerry Ware, Joe Phillips, Denise Nystrom, Jen Alvarez, Eli.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
I am Jerry Ware, and I want to thank the school board for the opportunity to have participated in the selection of our next superintendent. However, I was a little bit dismayed because Dr. Savage was not among the finalists. But needless to say, we must carry on, and I'm sure that he will continue to be an asset to the children here in Lee County, I pray. My second concern is the EDAC committee. I'm not sure who represents the area in which I reside. I am in District 4, particularly in the Dunbar community. I would like to know who that person is and when and how do they interact with those of us in the community with our concerns. And last but not least, I was in a committee today discussing how are we going to go about getting teachers, retaining teachers, and what will we do about that situation, about affordable housing. I made a call to Mr. Jared Heedy to see if he could help us meet with the EDAC representative and share with us what are we going to do about getting affordable houses to keep teachers here in Lee County once we get them. So those are my concerns, and once again, I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to assist you here in making education feasible to all kids. Thank you.
Denise Nystrom. I again want to express my support for the bus drivers in Lee County. The bus drivers have attended school meetings for months to tell you that they deserve a raise. They're not here right now. I wish that they would continue to come. I hope that their pleas are not falling on deaf ears. I read the transportation contract and I realized that they do not have a defined workday. Yes, they get paid for 8 hours, but the workday is not defined in terms of the number of runs they do. Since they are down 150 bus drivers, the school district has saved a lot of money by not hiring school bus drivers this year. So let's just say for the past 5 years that they've done 4 runs a day and now they're doing 6 or 8. They are looking for compensation, and I can see why they're upset. The workday needs to be defined in terms of the number of runs they do, or they need to be given a raise to compensate them in a way that helps them have an economic difference in their lives. As a former special ed teacher, I want to express my support for all teachers and counselors in the district. I attended your workshop meeting yesterday. Mr. Dodick did a very good presentation on teacher retention, and I would like to share with you some of the things that teachers and parents often share with me about their concerns about retention. Staff feels a lot of pressure because they have no job security, and they're afraid that if they speak out, there will be reprisal. In addition to poor salary increases on a year-to-year basis, they talk about toxic, oppressive work environments where they walk around on eggshells. Their words, not mine. Parents talk about not wanting to make waves because they don't want to put their children in a difficult situation when they're in school. We all know that a healthy morale is based on a culture of respect, communication, and positive relationships. Politics has made its way into the schools, and the politics need to be left outside of the door. I'm not saying that this is happening in every building, but in some buildings, teachers feel like they have to go along to get along. I hope you give what I'm saying some serious consideration. Thank you.
My name's Smoking Joe. My family and I are products of the Lee County school system. As a business owner, father, and a Floridian, it shames me to see what we have allowed to occur in our schools. I've seen many others speak to this board about their concerns with inappropriate and pornographic literature our children are being exposed to, yet you continue to ignore the pleas from our concerned tax-paying citizens. I reflect back to my time in the Lee County school system. The most pornographic literature we were exposed to was National Geographic's Plight of the Bush Tribe Khoi Khoi. I remember the first time I seen a nude woman in the flesh, I thought she was defective because her navel wasn't resting between her bosom. I'm sure some of you can relate. For whatever reason you allow our children to be polluted with things we as parents shelter them from. Just because one of your sons kissed a boy and liked it doesn't give you the right to expose our children to the LGBTQ propaganda. I have spoke to many people who feel the same way I do. Sadly, unlike me, they don't speak up out of fear from retaliation tactics. I have seen with my own eyes school board candidates being harassed by the Beignet Moo Moo battalion of swine she has unpinned. This is your voter base, and trust me, there's not enough of them to secure the seats you currently hold. Floridians has had enough, and it's time for a change. Do us all a favor. Join the Great Resignation. You have failed our teachers and staff. You have allowed your corruption to be your undoing. Not only have you failed our teachers and staff, your acceptance of unmoral ideologies have failed our children, and most of all, you've become an embarrassment to all Floridians. Now, I normally don't script anything I write because I'm a pretty good speaker. I'm a good old boy from right here in Lee County. Y'all have shamed us. I've got 2 children. One's in the Lee County school system, and one's supposed to start next year. I'm appalled at what y'all are doing. I do ask that you all reflect on yourselves because a couple of you need to go now. Dr. Savage, I wish you success in getting out of this mess. I don't know what we're going to do with the new school board superintendent if we don't clean our house here. Thank you. Smoking Joe.
Hi, good evening. Jennifer Alvarez. And I still have 2 children in high school, and I am a Lee County activist. I'm here to speak to the public as usual. Okay, recently I am involved in a post. I just want to read out the initial post. It's about, is anyone else out having problems getting their kids from and to school in Lee County? Yeah, this is the original post. Okay, because there is no buses available for them to take this. This has happened to us multiple times in just the last month. Okay, so now it kind of gets worse, right? Because people are now getting involved. So some of the comments here I want to read. First one would be that we lost our 3rd grader in September because they are constantly changing kids' buses. 3rd grader, guys, okay? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. They call transportation to get a voicemail. I'm a witness of this. This has happened to me personally multiple times. Thank God I'm retired and I'm able to take my child to and from to school, because these poor working people are starting to lose their jobs because they have to take their children to school, okay? So now let's just go on and read a couple of more comments, but I just want to reiterate that was a 3rd grader, okay, which makes my heart break that kids are even being lost in our system like this, okay? Our child spent 2 hours lost the other day because his bus didn't show up and come to 3 p.m. to the school's phone. We called the school at 3 p.m. to know that it went out right to voicemail. We were freaking out. They never called us. They never did anything. This was an elementary school. We are livid. We are so mad. Okay? Just another comment on here. This is what's going on, people, okay? Again, I am so happy this is an election year. We've got 4 seats up. We have a chance to change this, people. And it's all due to wasteful spending. Wasteful spending, people. You know what's going on with Oaks Farm. That money could have been used for these bus drivers. These bus drivers are using, but guess what? I am spreading the word. I am telling them to show up at these meetings so they can tell you how they feel. And trust me, they are coming. They are going to come in car loads because people are living. And that's just a couple of comments. I've got plenty more, but I can see that I'm out of time. Just try to do something and remember it's election year and all eyes are on you, and do the right thing. Thank you.
Will the following individuals please line up? Taylor Sheen, Christy DiVigelli, Jessica Brown, Lou Navarra, and Tara Jenner.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Sam Stewart, and thank you for, first of all, for teaching and looking after all of the children God has given us. Watching the school board meeting earlier this week, I was alarmed about the drastic consequences that an elected superintendent of schools would have for the role of the board, the functioning of this district, and the teaching and learning of our students. As you know, some of you, that I was an executive county superintendent in New Jersey, overseeing 70 school districts and superintendents, and a district superintendent for 35 years. From my experience, I can predict the following consequences. Number one, this district's focus will change from teaching and learning to elections and fundraising. And elections go on all the time. When a politician is elected, the first thing he learns is how much money he has to raise each day. Now, I'm told that, and the elected superintendent will have tremendous power to fundraise. I'm told that the Lee County Commissioners get a lot of money legally from developers and construction companies. Just imagine with the millions of dollars of construction this district is going to do, how it's going to benefit a superintendent. The other thing I remember, years ago, over in Polk County, they had an elected superintendent. I happened to be visiting my parents in Lakeland, and he said in the paper that he was running for re-election, but he would not take more than $50 from any employee. I said to my father, who's an old union man, that's the cost of the union dues. If you want to be hired or promoted or get tenure in this district, guess what? You better be contributing. Now, with 12,000 employees, not everybody's going to contribute, but really $200,000 or $300,000 would be a nice sum. And the politician, once he gets that money, can help other politicians. So you're going to have the strongest politician in Lee County right here. The school board, of course, will lose its power. I mean, why would an elected superintendent listen to you? He's responsible, he or she's responsible to the community. You may become members of his cabinet, I don't know. School achievement will suffer. You ought to do some research about what elected superintendents contribute to a district of teaching and learning and what they don't. Now, furthermore, let me just finish. This is part of a growing attack.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
And thank you all for listening. And thank you.
Hello, my name is Eli. I'll be reading different parts from Killing Mr. Griffin. There are 21 copies, 2 in elementary schools. Elementary? This is a book about students who are upset with their teacher for grades, who plot to kidnap and kill him. That Griffin's the sort of guy you'd like to kill. Well, why don't we then plan to kill him? You'll have to admit it. It would solve some problems. We kidnap him, we take him in the mountains, and we really put the screws to him. It will be fun, she said, like a game. We ought to have something fun to remember from high school. You tell your kids about it, Mark, said Griffin, flashing and crawling, begging us not to hurt him. That will be something to remember. Like the time that Mark had set fire to the cat after school. Like there on the ground before her, tied and blindfolded, lay Mr. Griffin. We can't pretend it never happened, that we're not responsible. We killed him. There's no sense burying a wallet full of cash along with him. This book shows children it's okay to respect teachers, shows a plot to hurt a teacher because they didn't like him. Talks about being cruel to animals. They gave one of their grandmothers drugs to cover for them. I want to know, why is this book available to students?
What is your name? Honey, what's your name?
Elijah.
Thank you.
My name's Taylor Sheen, and I'll be reading Sloppy First by Megan McCafferty, and this book is in Lexington Middle School and Riverdale High School. Page 131. I felt his mouth on mine. We were kissing. Kissing him didn't make my skin crawl. I liked it. To be honest, I really liked it. I could taste the whiskey on his tongue and feel the heat of his breath on my face. As our mouths got warmer and wetter, he rolled my body on top of his hands in my hair, against the nape of my neck, over my shoulders, and on the small of my back. Page 106. Pierre, I've always admired your ability to fill out a pair of tidy-whities, and I'll never forget the night I found your way around a clitoris. See you in my wettest, wildest dreams. Page 16. And he says, I can think of one way to make it even better. And then he slowly walks over to me, cups my face in his hands, and ever so gently kisses me on the lips. We break away for a brief moment, look each other in the eyes, and smile. We start kissing again, but with more passion. Then we rumble onto the gymnastics mat that is conveniently lying on the floor, and have the sweetest sexual experience ever to occur within the hallowed halls of Pineville High. Page 15. Rob's recent claim to fame is that he celebrated an away game victory by persuading a freshman cheerleader to hide under his Seagulls varsity jacket and suck him off in the backseat of the bus. Page 12. Scotty is the most self-censoring foul mouth I know. Like every other jock, he worships Opie and Anthony, the afternoon talk radio duo and misogynistic masterminds behind Whip 'em Out Wednesdays. And guess what's in my pants? A female caller rubs a phone against her most private areas, and male contestants try to guess whether she's sporting a Brillo, a triangle, a Hitler, or a wood floor.
Hi, my name's Christy DiVigili. I'm going to read from a book called Tricks. It is in 5 high schools, including my children's, and 1 middle school. Page 291. I totally wanted to pop your cherry. You were my first virgin, and you'll probably be my last. Because, sorry, but virgin sex isn't very good. Page 268. So I'll go find a sponsor. Some old Viagra stiff. Queen. Hopefully that buying a drink means buying a lay. They were thick as flies. Page 120. But Paige wants even more. Did you use your mouth? Her eyes lit up. Is she waiting for blow by blow description? Page 97. I pretend he is and let his hands explore the rounds of breasts, moving in tighter and tighter orbits, and now fingers circle the hard center nubs, raised like it's cold in here. Page 300. Down my shorts in a single swift motion. He is on me, in me, humiliating me in every way. Page 23. Bible says God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And no damn bleeding heart liberal gonna tell me different. Most definitely not this bleeding heart liberal. Of course, Dad has no clue that's what I am, or what I have become, because of who I am. All the way inside, the biggest part of me, the part I need to hide. Wonder what he'd say if I told him the first person to recognize what I am was a priest. Father Howard knew, took advantage too. Maybe I'll confess it all to Dad someday, but not while he's still grieving over Mom. I am too. And if I lost my dad because of any of this, I don't know what I would do. Page 32. Was hooking up with a creep, a pervert, looking to spread some incurable disease to some poor horny idiot. I met more than one pervert, but I never let them do me. Nope, horny or not, I wasn't an idiot. No homosexual yokel, anxious enough to get laid to any guy who swung the correct direction into my genes. I wanted my first real sex to be with the right guy, someone experienced enough to teach me but not humiliate me. Someone good-looking, young, educated, a good talker, yes, but a good listener too. Someone maybe even hoping to fall in love. Is this what you're trying to teach my children or give them access to?
Hi, my name is Jessica Brown. This is my first time speaking, so if I do or say anything unknowingly not acceptable, just let me know. So I'm just going to follow off my phone here, something that I wrote. Okay, so earlier you heard my 14-year-old daughter, Taylor. She read from an explicit book called Sloppy First. When an 8th grader's moral compass is more correct than a grown adult's, there is a serious problem. As a mother of 3, a nurse, and a citizen of society, I understand my responsibilities in all 3 of those roles. Today I'm asking that you each recognize the responsibility you have in your current role and the opportunity you have to make a positive impact on all children in the Lee County Public School System. It is no secret that some of the children that are in Lee County School System, just like in every school system, come from broken homes, and the only place they feel loved and safe is at school. I extend grace to you all because, like you, I once was lost. I saw vulgarness and inappropriateness, these things as harmless. I too have fallen into being deceived. The problem with deception is that you do not know you are deceived until someone shows you the right way. I give you grace that you've been deceived up until this point. However, from this moment forward, you have no excuse. You are without excuse because I am telling you via public comment now that these books are inappropriate, they're unsafe, and should not be in Lee County school libraries or any school libraries for that matter. In comment to a previous speaker that said information empowers children, it is not the information given. It is the bias that behind that information. It's pointing a picture that believing the Bible, that Christians are wrong. We just heard it in the book, what was it? Tricks. It is painting this picture that, Bible-believing parents, they're outdated. Those traditional ways have no place. They're bigots. This is causing division. How much time do I have left? Okay. Also, in regards to cussing not being allowed and that being enforced, you're an adult, yet somehow in your mind you've convinced yourself that mocking the Bible and God is okay and that these explicit books are okay for children to read. Can we really get our moral compasses correct, please? I'm sorry, I know you've been lied to and I know it hurts that you're deceived. Please stop being so afraid of offending others to the point that you offend our Lord and Savior. Teach our children what is right. God is right, the Bible is right, and you are wrong.
Will the following individuals please line up? Marcia Ellis, Jacqueline Perez, Lorena Preston, Crystal Johnson, James Linham.
You'll need a new one.
Good evening.
Good evening. Superintendent, School Board, Lou Navarre, 38-year Lee County teacher, retired. I do resent the metal detectors out there. When I asked you 2 years ago to put them in the high schools, you said you couldn't afford it. I'm going to talk about the great school resignation, which we saw about in the news press. I will show you the cure, including where the money's going to come from. Starting teacher salary, $60,000 a year. Governor DeSantis, he was magnanimous. If he's reelected, he'll give a $1,000 bonus. Bonuses are illegal to public employees. Substitutes, $200 a day with increments. Support, bus, custodians start at $30 an hour. All right, where's the money going to come from? First, an average of 250 absences a day are unfilled in this district. We need to fix substitutes. Gwen's the only person that said she was ready to sub. None of you others want to. You're making $45,500. Now, other examples. 2 security guards, Mr. Newland and Mr. Parfit, and these are all my friends. They need to sub. Dr. Spiro, my friend. Roger Lloyd. All the SROs need to sub. All they do is sit around and wait for an event. Ask Captain Dana Costin of the CCPD, a good friend of mine. Mr. Andy Brown needs to substitute professional standards. The tout president, Mr. Daly, and his executive director. Let's see them all in there. And he makes handsome money. And I was a member. I'll tell you what he makes too sometime. All right, I'm not going to go on that. It'll go on and on, but we need all of you to sub. Now, where's the money going to come from, okay? Firstly, none of these people want to go in the classroom, and I know why. I taught. They wouldn't be caught dead there. And most administrators have only 5 years of experience. We're going to take the 0.5% regressive sales tax, stop building buildings because there's going to be no one in them. Lots of the money has improved because of inflation. They got a windfall there. So we're going to pay for it that way, in addition to everybody subbing. Now, I have a gift. Miss Patrica was not here at my Christmas time. I haven't been here. And some man had the gaucheness to say she's a liar. No, she might be misinformed. Dr. Adams, though, was murdered not here at the school board meeting. How to stop lying, Miss Patrica. This is your Christmas present. I've autographed it. And go with God, all of you.
Thank you.
Shame on all of you.
Thank you.
Do you want to give it to her? You'll do okay.
Tara Jenner. I had an occasion to go back through several years of public comments and focus also on just board meetings in general. It took hours, and sometimes it was excruciatingly painful, and other times it was very rewarding. 2 events I'd like to point out. August 27, 2014, when this room was packed with individuals from the community pushing for opting out of standardized testing, and then the debacle of September 2nd, 2014, when Ms. Fisher recanted, and in the early hours of that morning, when none of the teachers and many of the parents were unable to attend, they flipped back and they opted back into the standardized testing under the auspices that it couldn't be done because there was a requirement under the Constitution for a fair, free, quality, uniform education. Notice it didn't say testing. So I'd like you to keep that in mind if Ms. Fisher decides to throw her name back into the hat and into the ring as school board. And I'd also like you to take into consideration the comments of Ms. Patrica that were made at both of those meetings as well. I did find it interesting as I was reviewing all these board meetings that the number and length and time of the board meetings has dramatically increased, and the length has significantly increased, and it seems to coincide primarily with the arrival of Ms. Patrica on the board. I'm wondering if this is coincidental or not. I have been attending board meetings for over 10 years, and I do recall that there was relative civility and grace afforded speakers. The interaction of the board members with the public, though not extensive then, was notably greater than it is since then. And since the appointment of Attorney Dupree Bruno, the length of the public comment warning has significantly become lengthier and keeps going on and on. When will the public comments return from this particular podium stuck way in the back of the room where we feel like we're a pariah and move back to the two speaking platforms on either side of the dais? Why a disparity in the speaker location depending upon whether or not you're a guest of the public or member of the public or a guest of the school board? We know it's not COVID protection since the other podiums on the side are being used by other individuals and they're well away from those that are on the dais and in the side panels. We also know that it's not a safety concern because we're searched before we enter the boardroom. Pretty soon the public will be speaking from the parking lot. We already feel like we have to beg to be heard from you, and nobody ever comments or says anything to us. Is there a legitimate reason for this ongoing disparity and treatment? Also, at this afternoon's briefing that I was listening to, there were some comments about costs for attorney expenses and breakdown on the boon.
Next speaker.
Good evening.
Marcia Ellis, namaste. First of all, I would like to start out by discussing what's been happening with selecting excerpts from books and having children present them in this meeting. First of all, I want to talk a little teacher talk, right? So when your child goes to school, one of the things that happens is a lexile level is determined. And that lexile level, it says what books that your child should be reading in order to improve their reading. And that is a built-in safeguard that would prevent a student like the age of Elijah from reading material that may not be appropriate to him, or having to listen to material in this room presented by someone else that would clearly not be at his reading level, and we heard him stumble with some of that text. So I just want to say that, you know, teaching is a profession, and teachers go to school to earn degrees in their profession. And to disrespect what's happening, what's their job, it's not okay. I want to now just take a moment, because I'm feeling a little flustered, to say thank you to the board for conducting a workshop that is looking into, it has looked into some of the reasons why that staff, both non-instructional staff and instructional staff, have been stepping away. And I think that that's really important. It's also important that we place that within the context of our country, because this shortage of teachers and this resignation is not specific to Fort Myers. And so there is history of this kind of thing taking place in the past. In 1948, there was a, let me see, it was called the, I'm going to look it up here. It was the Un-American Activities Committee, and that committee enlisted the help of the Daughters of the American Revolution, much like Moms of Liberty and Power to Parent today, to spy and be vigilantes on teachers. And so this effort that's being mounted by these groups, history is repeating. Unfortunately, what ended up happening is teachers left the profession at that time, just like they're leaving it today. So please continue to defend my profession. Many of my colleagues have invested their education, their money, and we're counting on you.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Johnston. I'm a community advocate,
and a concerned parent. I'm here tonight just to ask the board a couple of questions concerning transportation. I find it interesting that transportation is providing transport to children at Pace Center for Girls, and you have a driver shortage, where children that actually attend Lee County Public Schools are not getting transported. So that's a question that I'm just really would like an answer to soon, hopefully. I also wanted to know what are the plans of the board to accommodate these parents who have met the challenge of transporting their children to and from school. Children are arriving to school late because there's so much traffic, and once they finally arrive, they're getting disciplined. They're receiving detentions and write-ups and being detained into internal school suspension and different things like that. I just think that there should be something else taking place, or at least consider those students. We're all facing some challenges right now. Teachers are not here. Drivers are not here. You know, accommodate us somewhat. At least let us feel some type of support from our district and our board. I had some things I was gonna read, but it's just, I don't know, just having a conversation with you all tonight. I'm just really concerned that you don't seem to be concerned. We have students that are really struggling. Virtual school and things like that is not the best option for our students, but that's the way we're going. You're not going to have schools. You're not going to have students in seats. So I just really am hoping that you can come up with some better ideas, even take a suggestion box and let us make some suggestions, and you actually consider them and put them in place. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Lorena Preston, and I am a bus driver, but tonight I am speaking as a parent. And I would feel remiss not to bring to this panel's attention the critical staff shortage with bus drivers and school staff, especially teachers and paraprofessionals. As a working parent who has a young child who depends on school transportation to get to school, it concerns me to have to face the possibility of my child not having a ride to school due to there not being a driver to pick him up. Kids need to be in school, and the more economically disadvantaged kids will not make it if there is no school bus to pick them up. I'm also concerned about the reality of teachers and paraprofessionals having to cover overcrowded classrooms, which can lead to kids not getting adequate education. And upon researching ideas that were explored for the use of ESSER funds, I saw items like installing new carpet, changing windows, and building new schools. The question I have for the board is, what good are new schools if there isn't enough adequate staff to teach the kids and no drivers to get to these schools? I feel it's more appropriate to use a portion of the ESSER funds to supplement salary and wages to our overworked school staff and bus drivers in order to obtain and retain staff needed to provide the services to the children's needs.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, board, for the opportunity to speak. My name is James Lynham, and I'm a school bus driver for the school district. And I would like to start off by saying that I love my job. I really love my job. And when students are on my bus, whether it's the route that I bid on or not, they're listened to, they're heard, and they take something positive away. And I love my students. I love what I do. We all know inflation is up and the cost of living is up, but every paycheck is getting harder to do what I love. And I really would not want to stop doing what I love because that I couldn't do what I love, if that makes sense. But I just wanted to remind everyone of that. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Board. I'm here this evening to speak about 2 employee issues, bus drivers and teachers, and a group of teachers asked me to read this. We have reached out numerous times to TALC with no help or support on numerous issues over the years. We have also tried to contact current board members with no response either. Now this Monday, HR will be in meetings to address the Great Resignation issues. Over 900 teachers have quit. This is not because of COVID. Please try to speak on the issue and get some feedback for us. This is our toughest year yet. We are being abused. The culture is toxic, and student behavior is the worst we've ever seen. Our principals need leadership training, and many simply need to be removed. People refuse to speak honestly because most have annual contracts. We need real, transparent data, starting with exit interviews and surveys that address the real issues. Of 5,156 employees, only 1,400 had filled out the survey sent out by the district. It should be conducted by an outside source, not the district, just like the bus drivers. We need serious help. We are being micromanaged like never before, and the administration teams answer to no one. We need a voice. I hope you are listening to the pleas of your employees. You have bus drivers who are killing themselves, taking extra shifts and trying to get children to school, while you have board members speaking harshly and being annoyed that their kids are late being taken to school. Some consideration needs to be given to these employees that are killing themselves to get our children and our grandchildren to the schools. You have the funding to do it. The funding doesn't come from capital, it comes from operations. Operations which you've mismanaged over the years with misspending, malfeasance, thievery, and gifting contracts of $11.9 million to a locksmith that would have helped the bus drivers obtain their raise. So please look at your budget. The numbers are there. You have ESSER funding. I believe the government gave you $189 million or $169 million. That's a lot of money that can help these bus drivers and these teachers who are suffering. They are at your mercy. You have to do something to help them. And on another issue, I also had an email today that came from a 35-year retired employee of the school district, which I believe Ms. Fisher is familiar with, who is stating that, again, Ms. Bruno has violated sunshine violations. And the email came in at 4:31 with taking a polling vote where you don't even know which board members voted on superintendent. How could you not identify that? That's a sunshine violation. Do you not know the law? Please, smarten up, do the right thing, take care of your employees. They are the primary interest and concern of our community, of our children, of our parents, and this district.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Well, first, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for your comments. We do really listen to what you all say. Mr. Carson, thank you for shedding the light that the bathrooms were fixed. We appreciate you letting us know that that did take place. I wanted to read something that regarding the books. And this was just as a follow-up to the concerns regarding the books, challenges to objective material. Please know that per board policy, the review committee is meeting regular to review the materials. Those have forwarded objectable materials forms are provided with the results of the review. Parents may also exercise their parental rights within the Parents' Bill of Rights and submit an individual request to their children's school for an alert to be placed on the child's Destiny Library account, identifying books that they do not want them to check out. As an update, the following books are not in any of our district media centers. And this was on the list that we had received. 50 Shades of Grey, This Day in June, A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo, Sex is a Funny Word, I Am Jazz, Girl to Girl, Home at Last, Beautiful Bastard, excuse my French, The Vincent Boys, The Premier Superhero, A Peacock Among good Lord, Pigeons, A Peacock Among Pigeons, Two Dads, Daddy's Roommates, Mommy, Mama, and Me, Dream Things True, Dreamland Burning, If You Could Be Mine, You Asked for Perfect. Further, after ongoing, the review process is perfectly normal, has been removed from our media centers. Some books, such as Bluest Eyes, appear on the College Board's list of advanced placement assessment materials. AP courses require school board approval of teachers' syllabus. Parents reserve the right to request alternative assignments if they choose. The last time Bluest Eyes was checked out was in 2018. The last time it was on the AP exam was in 2019. Based on the committee's reviews, teachers of advanced courses are required to obtain parental permission prior to utilizing this book for instructional and may only circulate in 9th to 12th grade. Please know that in our IB, AB, AP, and ACE classes, it is common practice for parents to be included in communication at open houses that discuss curriculum of the courses. Via curriculum updates in Google Classrooms, teacher syllabus are often kept on file at the school and uploaded into Google Classroom. So that's in regards to the all the book comments. Also, if Dr. Savage, will you please address, today we've been speaking and we do care about our paras, our bus drivers, our teachers, our district staff, everyone. And we actually had that conversation. We're trying to think outside the box. How do we make everything feasible for all of you? You know, we want to make sure that you keep loving your job and you keep being there because we need you. The kids need you. Dr. Savage, could you please just shed some light on what we kind of spoke about regarding that?
Well, some of the things that are being requested are actually the things that are being bargained about right now. You know, the additional funds with ESSER we've talked about, that's absolutely looking at those pieces. The reason why we can't discuss in more detail is simply because we're in the bargaining process. But those are absolutely things that are being suggested, both for teachers as well as for bus drivers. One of the things we even talked about is just foundationally how to improve the recurring compensation, not just the ESSER funds, but the longer term funds to raise the dollar figures. And so some things I mentioned before is the way we schedule, the current choice plan that we use. Those are all things that contribute to the underlying need, the amount of positions that we need. And if you change those numbers, then you have more money to bring to that recurring compensation conversation, which is so vital. So those are just some of the examples, both the short term as well as the long term, that are very much in line with some of the comments that were made today that are being bargained as we speak.
And then also the conversation that we were all having here regarding flexible hours for teachers, bus drivers, trying to figure out how does that work, so that way we're trying to cover every aspect that we possibly can, looking at the possibility, I know Ms. Gittens had spoke about buses, daycare, and picking up at schools, and also we spoke about the possibility of looking into childcare for our different zones for our bus drivers, looking at the hours that they have to go in. But all that we've just spoke about that in these last 2 days.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no stone unturned in terms of all the different things that we have to be able to think of to be competitive in this marketplace, not just here locally, but really across the country. We have to look what other employers are doing. And one of the things, among others, like you said, childcare. There was a conversation around attainable housing. That's something our community is even looking at. I don't have great progress to report on that other than to say we're in the midst of the short-term bargaining aspect of it, but we have to address these very concerns on a longer-term basis to address it not just for now, but for the future as well.
Okay, and then also, I know I'm going a long way now, the discipline. I really think that needs to be looked into because we want to make sure that our students are not being penalized because of the fact that they are late. when it has nothing to do with them.
Yes, this is the first I've heard of a student receiving discipline for a late bus. Typically, the buses, they know when the late buses are arriving. They come, they're issued bus passes. If there's any individual school, I know there was a speaker who referenced that, if there's any individual school that we've had this, I actually was checking with Dr. Spire if he'd heard anything, and he said exactly the same. No, they had not heard a single instance of that occurring yet. So if there is a specific school where this is allegedly occurring, we would love the opportunity to look into that and take care of that if that is happening. Because obviously students would not be disciplined for a late bus. That would certainly not be something that we would be supportive of.
But I want to make sure too, not necessarily would it be a late bus, but if for some reason somebody has to grab their kids or a neighbor has to take, or whatever that looks like to take that child to school, whether it's on a bus or not, we need to make sure that they are not going to be the same treatment.
And we'll certainly, if there's a specific school instance, we'll get with school development as well just to see if they've heard any pieces. But I was checking while we were hearing that comment because I had not heard that comment made before.
And a suggestion box would be great. As far as, thank you for that, Ms. Johnson. If you all have the opportunity to send us emails with your suggestions, and we can't, there's nothing wrong. A village is, what does it say? It takes a village. So all of us collectively, if you all have ideas of solutions, we are always open to hearing any of that, because who knows who has the right answer. So collectively, you know, we're able to work together. So please feel free to send anything that you can think outside the box. We're willing to hear it. So please do that. Ms. Ware, I'll definitely get with you on that, and we'll figure all that out regarding the representative and EDAC and everything. And Mr. Stewart, thank you for sharing your thoughts. And I don't know if you're still here, but I appreciate you coming here and sharing from your expertise. Let's see what else. I think that is it for now. But again, we do really appreciate all of your comments. Okay. Next is the approval of the action items in the agenda under consent. The documentation for action items listed under consent is made available to the board members 7 business days prior to the board meetings. We are expected to review all the materials, and we have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent with questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items have also been briefed or workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the action agenda. Board members, are there any items on the agenda you wish to pull for discussion? Ms. Fisher?
I have no polls this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Ms. Gittens?
None, thank you.
Ms. Vaughn?
I have none.
Thank you. And Ms. Morgan?
I have none.
I have none. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda's consent action?
I'll move to approve the agenda's consent action items.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. And do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Motion by Ms. Fisher, seconded by Ms. Vaughn. Please record your vote. Ms. Roman, I can't see it. Oh, I'm sorry, it's up there. I see it now. Okay, 6-0, motion carries. Okay, the next is public hearings. Dr. Savage, will you please present your recommendations for this evening's public hearings?
Yes, Madam Chair. The following 2 items. Item P1, approval to adopt policy 4.221, suicide prevention in compliance with changes in related rules, regulations, and statutes to adopt best practices and to promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of the items mentioned above is February 9th, 2022, as well as item P2, approval to adopt policy 4.223, allergy management in compliance with changes in related rules, regulations, and statutes, to adopt best practices and to promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of the items mentioned above is February 9th, 2022.
Okay, thank you. We will now recess the regular school board meeting and open the public hearing. As indicated, the public hearings this evening is to consider approval to adopt policy 4.221, suicide prevention in compliance with changes in related rules, regulation, and statutes, to adopt best practices and to promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of the items mentioned above is February 9th, 2022. The number 2 is approval to adopt policy 4.223, allergy management in compliance with changes in related rules, regulation, and statutes, to adopt best practices and to promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of the items mentioned above is February 9th, 2022. At this time, the public will be invited to speak on these 2 items and only these 2 items. The time allowed for comment is 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the boardroom that would like to speak on either of these issues? Please go to the back. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on these 2 issues? And for the 3rd time, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on either of these 2 issues? Okay, I will now close this public hearing and reconvene the regular school board meeting of February the 8th, 2022. Dr. Savage, please restate your recommendation for this evening's public hearing.
Yes, Madam Chair. First, approval to adopt policy 4.221, suicide prevention.
Thank you. You have heard the superintendent's recommendation that the board approves to adopt policy 4.221, suicide prevention. Board members, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move that we approve policy 4.221, suicide prevention.
Thank you. And second?
I'll second. Morgan.
Ms. Morgan, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, please record your vote. Ms. Fisher just came up. Yours did not come up?
No.
Ms. Fisher's did not come up. Did you get her? Okay, 6-0, motion carries. Dr. Savage, would you please restate the recommendations for the second item?
Yes, Madam Chair. Approval to adopt policy 4.223, allergy management.
Thank you. You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to adopt policy 4.223, allergy management. Board members, is there a motion to approve?
I move we accept the policy as stated.
Okay, Ms. Gittens. And second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Okay, it was moved by Ms. Gittens and seconded by Ms. Morgan. Is there any discussion? And I just want to state, this is our 3rd reading, so we've had multiple conversations over this. Seeing none, please record your vote. Okay, 6-0, motion carries. Thank you. We're on to board comments. Ms. Fisher, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Please. Thank you.
So I am looking forward to my CSI meeting tomorrow night when we'll be having a discussion with the committee about like where should we go next and what are our next topics. I'm also looking forward to Saturday at the Calusa Sound, our Lee County School District STEM-tastic Day of Discovery from 10 to 2. And I wanted to mention that I want to thank all of our staff for the work that they do every day, in particular this week for school counselors, because it is School Counselor Week, as well as Career and Tech Education Month, American Heart Month, and Black History Month. I wanted to give a shout out to Island Coast High School. They harvested 200 pounds of produce earlier this week. Last week, and they put it all to the cafeteria and gave leftovers to other schools. And one of the products that they picked was a 10-pound head of lettuce. Wow. So they're working very hard. It's part of the Healthy Living collaboration, and that committee just received a grant, and they're doing great work feeding the community. I have a quote from Baratunde Thurston. When we ban books in schools before we ban guns, we admit we are more afraid of our children learning than we are of them dying. Safe home, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Ms. Patrica.
Just very quickly, I forgot to mention when I talked about DAC, Brian Mangan, actually at the beginning of the meeting expressed nerves over having to manage such a large group, and then he went on to manage that group with a high degree of professionalism and expertise. So hats off to him. And you know, the comments about the student code of conduct by the parents in DAC were very similar to the comments by the students in the student advisory committee. Concerns about the code being sexist, concerns about it being punishing culture, and making sure that we go through that dress code with a fine-tooth comb, making sure that those things aren't being punished. Gender and culture are not being punished. So I thought it was yet another example where we have a couple committees on the same page. Those are my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gittens?
Okay, I'm trying to pull up something really quickly.
Okay.
You can give me 1 second. Okay, I believe they have some pictures for me in the back.
Okay.
And the first one should be of Karsten Branch. Karsten, wave at everybody, because he's sitting there on the front row. And I'll read what was sent to me. Karsten Branch, Vice President of the senior class of Cypress Lake High School Student Government Association, took his own time on his own initiative to pressure wash the athletic bathrooms at the high school himself. He has been advocating for much-needed renovations at Cypress Lake High. His actions exemplify the commitment of today's youth. Kudos to Karsten.
Good job.
Okay, and this is a group of, it's a troop 176, you'll see in just a minute. And these young ladies, slow down 1 second, they came, and when they were sitting at the, they all sat at the dais, there were 7 of them, so each of them got to choose who they wanted to be. And Miss Jordan was the most popular because she had the gavel at her seat. But everyone had the opportunity to go by and bang the gavel. But anyway, the exercise that I took them through was to do a meeting, and the only agenda item was to choose the superintendent. So they got to watch the videos of the 2 finalists that we had, and it just so happened that day that the board had decided and selected Dr. Bernier. And after the meeting, well, just before, when they came out, Dr. Bernier had come to the office. So they were so excited that the superintendent they chose was waiting for them in the back office. So that's a picture of them. The next picture is them with, that's them up on the board. And then also while they were in the back, our attorney Bruno, questioned them on the law and some of the things in government that they should know because they were getting their badge in government. I think there should be one quick video if we have that one of the girls. Was that the video? Maybe you didn't get the video. Okay. I guess it didn't show up. But anyway, there's a video of that, and they're all saying, you know, Troop 176, and pointing to the sign and saying Lee County Schools. And the ladies up here are supposed to get a thank you card from each girl that became them for one night. But it was so exciting. It was interesting to me to watch the excitement in the girls' faces, just to be able to go through that door right there and see where we go when we go in the back. So anyway, that was it. I think that's all the pictures that I have, and thank you for visiting us, girls. Next thing is...
Troop 267, Lee County Schools.
There they are.
What just happened?
And they had a blast. So one day, one of them will be seated up here. I told them that already. Okay, regarding, there were several comments about the teachers and pay and the bus drivers. And I suggest that you watch the last 15 minutes, let's say, of our briefing this afternoon. And there was a discussion about things that we can do. And that what I had brought up before, that I had spoken to some retired educators about subbing. And their, Ms. Ware was at the group on Saturday night when I said, so how many educators are in the room? There was about 150 people there. And several raised their hands. And I said, how many of you would be willing to sub just a half a day? Just a half a day, and the hands went up all over. So that is the suggestion that hopefully, and this afternoon, we're going to hold the superintendent to it. He agreed that they would be able to put that into action, not only for teachers, but let's say for bus drivers, because maybe somebody can't do a whole day of subbing, but they could do a morning or they could do an afternoon. And at this point, the crisis is on, and any help that we can get. Dr. Spiro also talked about in the district that there is a process now where the principals or the administrators at schools can ask for people to come and help. Well, thank you for telling us that, and I think that needs to be on steroids and also marketed, because maybe there's also people, he mentioned helping at the bus or getting kids off the buses. He mentioned in the cafeteria. We need to let all of you know the things that you can do to help. This is where it takes a village. It's going to take all of us to get through this. It is a crisis, and we have to work together to fix it. So hopefully we will see that. Lastly, it is Black History Month, and no, I'm not wearing African attire. I was just too tired to pull it out today. But the next meeting I shall, because it is Black History Month, representing my heritage and my culture. And I just wanted to say, Black History Month this year, the emphasis is on mental and physical health. And I cannot say enough about the crisis in mental health. Ms. Fisher is always with me on that, and especially in the Black community. It is not, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing to be, bullied about. It is real, real, real. We have students that have been out of school for a whole year almost. And some of our students, especially some of our minority students, they learn socialization in a group at school. They learn how to sit. They learn how to take turns. They learn how to raise their hand to ask for something. They learn socialization with other individuals. And you take that away for a year, and then you bring them back, and then the classes are almost double the size they were when they left, and the teachers and everybody are stressed. It's a crisis, and it creates mental situations. We promised these kids 2 years ago that you get up in the morning, you go to school, you get your lessons, you do well, you will survive and do well in this world. And then COVID and all that came and everything was flipped upside down. Everything we promised them has not happened right now. And they are confused. And they are wondering, what do we do? And they're looking to us. They're looking to us for answers. They're not looking to us to fight amongst ourselves to come up with the answers. We have to work together to find the answers so that these kids will have a path to the future. The quote that I will give for Black History Month is by Mary McLeod Bethune. Believe in yourself, learn, and never stop wanting to build a better world. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens. Ms. Fisher, you said you had
Yes,
something?
I just wanted to thank Presley McGirt for being with us tonight as a student representative.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much for having me.
Ms. Vaughn?
I think after listening to Ms. Gittens, I have to make a comment about what our role is as a school district, as a public school system. And keep in mind that as a public school, we take everyone in. It doesn't matter race, religion, disabilities, everybody is served in our public school system. And we exist to produce good citizens in this country. But the way the world is today, we also exist to produce citizens that have a world view. That's important because during my lifetime, news shows, I think if I remember history correctly, that the Vietnam War was the first war where there were actual real-time videos shown on the news show. And now, with technology and everybody carrying around their own little movie camera, so to speak, with their phone, like this, it's instant communication. And so we need to be sure that all of our children are prepared to face this world that changes. I don't even remember what the statistics are anymore, but it used to be, every so many years it was totally different. It seems nowadays it's almost like every other day it's a new world. So I want all of you to keep that in mind, that is so important to us as a public school district. One of the ways that we do this is we teach our children to be open-minded, and we teach them to use critical thinking. It's not just that we teach the kids the ABCs and reading words. Words have meaning. Documents, books, they have meaning. The written word has meaning, and we have to be sure that our children can see all the shades of meaning from books and newspaper articles and documents and everything, even the spoken word. And so, because I feel so strongly that we are preparing them for this new world, to many of us who existed before pantyhose was even invented. I am dismayed when I hear people come to this room, and you have every right, God bless the USA, every right to say what you want. But when I hear racism, when I hear prejudice against LGBTQ individuals, and we have students who are gay or transgender and their parents, when I hear that, and when I hear the parochial view that Christianity is the only religion represented in this school district, it gives me pause, because again, you have the right to believe what you want to believe. You have that right. Despite the dismissal of the people who think that they're doing the next generation a favor by keeping to the ideals of racism and prejudice, that's not what we want. At least that's not what I want for the next world. It's not why I spent 38 years helping children prepare for that. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Ms. Morgan?
I'm not going to say much. I just want to say that this is CTE month, and apropos that it is CTE month, we today approved the agreement with Yamaha. They're builders and distributors of personal watercraft and jet boats to establish a high school level Yamaha Marine Products Training Program for up to 200 students at Fort Myers High School. Students will receive technical training in repair and maintenance of Yamaha products at no cost to the district. Once again, we continue to look for opportunities for children to earn certifications, to be able to leave at graduation knowing what the first step in their future is. So I congratulate the staff who have worked on that agreement, and I know there will be more. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And guess whose turn it is? Come to Presley.
Okay.
So Presley, this is your opportunity to speak. Whatever you need to do.
Okay. So first, I would like to thank Ms. Jordan for inviting me here tonight to be a part of this. And I just had something to say as far as the teacher stuff. I know it's been in the media about teachers leaving education, and so I wanted to make a short statement to the teachers from a student. You are loved, you are appreciated, you are strong, and you inspire others. And you are needed every day in so many ways. You do so much more than teach. Sometimes you're the parent figure. Sometimes you're our therapist, our ally, or even our only friend. Your influence may not mean the world to everyone, but it means the world to someone, and just your support can change someone's life. Yeah. Thank you.
Please.
Is there any chance we can cut that and send it out to our teachers and place it all over social media, because out of the mouths of babes?
That was beautiful.
That's a great idea. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Yes.
So I should have went first. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, I just have a few things to share. I think a lot of my colleagues have already made statements and comments that I would have made, so I thank you for that. So I want to just do some shout outs. I attended the Lee County Middle and High School Honor Choir that was held at Fort Myers High School. We had 80 middle schoolers and 40 high school students, and they were just simply amazing. Just they were angels. They sounded like angels. I also wanted to give a shout out to Trevor Tran. He's the music director at Fort Myers High, for having his song published, and as well as he wrote the song and the students performed it that same evening. So I really wanted to give a shout out to him. And then a shout out to Dunbar. I wanted to congratulate Dunbar Cyber Patriots team for placing 3rd in the state. Our students, for some reason, I don't think we think enough about, we are here for them. And then when we hear all the greatness that comes out of our districts, and times are rough, but they're still, they're still outperforming. You can see their pictures, they're having a great time, but they're really showing their strengths and their talents regardless of what they're going through. And I think we just have to always keep that in perspective. And I also wanted to say, a few of us had gone up to Tallahassee. We had the opportunity to go up there and meet with some of our legislators, those of the legislators that we could not meet with. We left our materials with their aides, so we did stop at every single office to make sure that they had the priorities of the district and understood what our needs were and what our quest was, and for them to help and support us on those. So we did have the opportunity to do that. Also, you all received, there's 29 pages of bills in the Senate appropriate right now pertaining to education. So this year, there's been so much up there in Tallahassee regarding education, whether it's in the House or the Senate. But right now, there's I couldn't even read them all today, but there's 29 pages right now on that. So I would ask you all to take the time to look at some of those bills. And of course, the partisan one has moved, it's moving. That has moved by, that went into one right now, into one of the House committees. And we have, sorry, I thought I had more here. The mental health, that was passed, House Bill 899, the House Bill for mental health was passed. So that has been passed. But please take an opportunity to look at all of those, the appropriate House appropriations. Also, they have a slew of bills coming through as well. But just keep track of what's going on there. It's because it can really affect us money-wise as well as just changes. And that's, and Presley, I thank you so much for jumping in here, and really appreciate it. And I know sometimes it's hard for a student. Sometimes I feel it's hard for a student to sit here and listen to everything that's going on. But I thank you for that, for being here. And Mom, thank you for bringing her to us. And then I have Mr. Pre Bruno. Do you have any comments? Oh, I'm sorry. I have one that I forgot. So we have the letter that was voted on to be sent out. I just need to know the letter to Cape Coral. I just need to know if that is going to be signed with all of the our signatures on it. That's my question. I want to make sure that before we send it out, that if everybody's in agreement, please, can we have consensus on that? Okay, 6-0. So we'll make sure that that's sent out then. And now, Mr. Bruno?
I have no comments, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Savage.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I will try to keep it brief, but I am in the presence of two Cypress Lake High School Panthers, between Presley, who I'm just blown away by all the variety of things, not just National Honor Society, captain of cheerleading, lacrosse, ballroom dancing, over a 4.0 GPA. And Carson, I was a Cypress Lake High School grad. I went to Cypress. I was a Panther. I never pressure washed any of the bathrooms. So both of you, and not only that, but if I were a high school senior, you couldn't have paid me to come to a school board meeting, and you both volunteered your time to come here and uplift the rest of the community. Thank you both. Now on a little bit more serious note, just the systemic inequality, which in the South, unfortunately, affects communities of color, far in greater proportions than what we see in other areas. So the importance of Black History Month is such an opportunity because a democracy does not function unless there's a robust educational system. And so what a great opportunity for us to highlight some of the untold history that often happens that just does not find its way into the common focus. And so it's such a powerful opportunity for us to highlight that piece, but I would say that really should be a year-round thing. Secondly, just again to our school counselors, you know, the pandemic has shined a bright light on the mental health struggles that we've had. We've heard it. We know it's impacting so many of us, and so many of us in ways that we're not even aware of. So always we're appreciative of our counselors, but particularly during such a difficult time, they are really just so grateful for their service. Thirdly, the other recognition that National Career Tech Ed Month it's such a great timing for that piece because I just had the opportunity to go to the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce where we heard from Henry Mack, who was at the Department of Ed, gave an incredible vision of what's happening in the future. Florida is really in a boom right now. We are just having so many people from all over the country bringing their value to our community, but as they're doing so, what we're finding is tremendous shortfalls across so many careers, not just here in the school district, but really across all sectors. And so there's never been a more important time in the time sensitivity. So just so grateful for some of our staff members, such as Todd Everly, Charlie Peace, John Rozelle, who in our tech academies, our tech centers, they really are putting people into jobs right away. And then Rita Davis and her amazing team, as well as all of our high schools, who really, specifically the ones that have the career academies. I mean, just the example that you gave earlier, Ms. Jordan, about the Cyber Patriots. These are things that allow students to see themselves in a career, that they have a vision for their life when they have an opportunity to find meaningful experiences in high school that allow them to gain actual skills that allow them to be employable, and it helps them really have a passion for their life. So what a powerful opportunity to not just inspire children, but also give these students a path directly into a well-paying job, and we need them. We actually needed them yesterday. I also want to thank the foundation, just because they had the Strides for Education, our Take Stock. We're really investing in our students, all the money that was raised while people were getting out on their Saturday morning and had a healthy run, so thank you for that. And then last but not least, I want to really take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Bernier. He is our our next superintendent. He gets the privilege of coming to this community, and I want to officially, I have not had the opportunity until now, to officially welcome him in this public meeting. This is an amazing place to call home, and he is so lucky to have the opportunity to come here to Lee County, call this his new home. We're so excited to give him a chance to meet our community, and we as a school system are so excited to support. He's going to have a lot of challenges, and it's our job as a whole community, as a whole district support system, as a governance team to really support him, to welcome him, and to support all the hard challenges that are in front of us. And I'm just so grateful. Had the chance to talk to him for the first time last week, and I'm going to talk to him again tomorrow. So grateful for the opportunity to help prepare him for the challenge that he has in front of him, and just so excited to welcome him to our community. So with that said, those are all my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Savage. The next scheduled workshop and action meeting of the board will be on February 22nd at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. At this point, having no further business to come before this board, this meeting is adjourned, and it is 7:54.